Week 1 is here after a great week 0 start with two top 25 games with Kansas State and Iowa State. And that turned out to be a big game as Iowa State won 24-21 in a thrilling matchup. It is time for officially week 1 games. They begin Thursday, August the 28th with Boise State in South Florida, a top 25 matchup there where there could be an upset. But then it really kicks off on Saturday. We obviously know of Tennessee playing Syracuse, and everybody's excited to watch that game. However, at the same time with Tennessee, Syracuse is a top 5 matchup, number 1 Texas versus number 3 Ohio State. Then later in the day, you got number 9 LSU versus number 4 Clemson. And on Sunday, you have number 6 Notre Dame versus number 10 Miami. Now, first, let me do this. I want to applaud the NCAA. I want to applaud college football. I want to applaud athletic directors. There have been some issues in recent years with maybe just one big week 1 game. And that has always been a travesty to me because the NFL gives you Labor Day. There's no competition if you're college football. You have all of Labor Day weekend to take up the narrative, take up the storylines, and win over fans. And you guys would do that, not you guys, but college football would do that and have maybe one big game a weekend. This is epic. 3 big games. It's high time they did that. Kudos to them for having their week 0 game, having a top 25 matchup for their week 0 game. This is the type of stuff we want. This is the type of stuff we're talking about, okay? We want top 5 matchups, top 10 matchups early on, top big time, notable, marquee, non-conference games that everybody can watch, and you need them Labor Day weekend because that's when the NFL is giving you time to put this on. You can't compete with the NFL. I felt like there was a desire to save their big games for when the NFL was happening. You cannot compete with them. You just can't. That was the dumb move of NASCAR. For those who don't know, NASCAR started the Chase Cup Series. The whole reason they did that was because they thought they could inflate the value of their races in September, October, and November and compete with the NFL. Well, they didn't compete with the NFL on those days. Instead, they just devalued every race in the summer and the spring, and nobody cares about NASCAR anymore. They destroyed their own sport trying to create a playoff that can compete with the NFL. You can't compete. So when the NFL gives you a weekend, you take it. The NFL's given college football this weekend. They need to take it. I am so glad they did it. However, the flaw in this, and this is one of my hot takes, the magic and luster of the NFL, of college football, having 3 top 10 matchups is not there. And this is Bank on It, brought to you by Commercial Bank. Remember, FDIC, life made better. Bank on it. I think the expanded college football playoff has taken away from what would have been the luster of 3 top 10 matchups to start the season. Bank on it. It won't have the magic you will have thought it had.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank. Life made better.
One of the short-sighted things about the expanded college football playoff is because I just told you guys you don't compete with the NFL. College football added ratings and value, try to in December when NFL games are on Saturdays during that time. In the process, they devalued everything during the regular season. And one of the biggest things they devalued was the potential for Labor Day weekend. This could have been a huge weekend with a 14 playoff, or if you had the old BCS system. We have 3 top 10 matchups, all 6 top 10 teams vying to get to the playoff or play for the national championship. And all of them would be devastated with the loss. Eyeballs everywhere. Eyeballs galore would be on these games, guys. Instead, my brother actually texted me this today, and I want to give him a shout out. It actually gave me the idea for this. Instead, there were other big games with lesser talent that have bigger implications. I think last week's Kansas State-Iowa State game was significantly bigger than any top 10 game you're going to see this week. I don't think LSU-Clemson or is going to matter. Neither is Notre Dame, Miami, and neither is Texas and Ohio State. Texas and Ohio State certainly won't matter. Both teams are going to the playoff, probably. Notre Dame, Miami could matter. I think that's the one that could matter, that would be devastating, because I think Notre Dame and Miami, both as an ACC and an ACC adjacent school, the path to the college football playoff is a lot narrower for those two schools than it is for LSU, who's going to get a whole SEC schedule after Clemson to have a chance to make its case. Clemson, who could just run the table in the ACC, and also Texas and Ohio State. Again, completely irrelevant. The bigger games, honestly, again, Kansas State, Iowa State last week, with only one Big 12 team likely going to the college football playoff, that was a big game. Boise State at South Florida Thursday, that's a bigger game. South Florida has a chance to compete for the AAC title, at which point they could be the top group of 5 team. Boise State was the top group of 5 team last year. Those two teams playing on Thursday, that's a huge game. That is actually bigger than Texas and Ohio State because of this expanded playoff. And that's not the way college football should be. Heck, Syracuse, Tennessee, that game is bigger than Texas and Ohio State. And they're playing at the same time. Because, again, even though Tennessee's favored to dominate, the winner of that game has a much better chance of making the playoff, and the loser is probably out immediately given the rest of their schedule. All right. Alabama, Florida State, huge for both teams. Huge. It's at Florida State. That's going to be a really, really big game. You guys see where I'm going with this? The mid-tier games are bigger than the top 10 games, where you know the teams in those rankings are going to make a run anyway at the playoff. Virginia Tech, South Carolina, the winner of that game will be in the playoff race. This is the problem with the expanded college football playoff. The problem with the expanded college football playoff is you don't get the return with the extra games that you're bringing in December, and you lose the value of everything else. You sacrificed 3 months for 3 weeks. That was a dumb strategy. And I will say this, I think it will hurt college football long term with new fans not coming in. Now, many of you guys are bringing up NASCAR, tried bet on replacing old fans with new fans and failed miserably. That is true, but one of the ways they did that was trying to do the playoff. They thought they could compete with the NFL with the playoff, and it failed. College football is becoming more like NASCAR, where it's hyper-regional, but college football doesn't want to be hyper-regional. College football wants to be national. The reason it was becoming hyper-regional was because the SEC was so dominant in the BCS era. But NIL was going to change that. What people don't realize is the expanded playoff, despite Ohio State winning it last year, that favors the SEC even more. It's going to make college football even more hyper-regional long-term, because the teams that benefit from it, again, SEC teams, and then you got your few elite schools elsewhere, Michigan, Ohio State, wherever. It's the teams that slip up twice in the regular season, but still get into the playoff, but are better than a lot of the other teams and are capable of winning it. That's who it helps. An expanded playoff doesn't help Boise State win it. They have no shot at winning it. An expanded playoff takes away the potential for less talented teams to win it all, believe it or not. So I think this is a huge error, and this is why I think, believe it or not, it was a mistake with the expanded playoff, and that's why I think these big games have lost their luster. You guys disagree with me. I asked the poll question, what is your take on 3 top 10 week 1 matchups? 79% say about time we had big early games. 21% say lost its luster given expanded CFP. I'm going with the lost its luster given the expanded CFP. I think that's the biggest problem. I think it was a huge mistake for the college football to expand its playoff. I'm very much against it. I very much have a problem with it. I'm happy with the 3 top 10 games. I'm excited. It truly is about time. But the thing I can't get past is I think there's less luster than there typically is. So that's my take on this week's 3 top 10 matchups.